As you can tell from the thumbnail, it's really fucking massive. Hey everyone, sorry this video took a little bit longer to come out. If you haven't noticed, calculating the One Piece size is actually a lot harder to go over, and I could have not done this on my own. Obviously, I'm a kind of a dum-dum, so we actually had a head calculator on this, and he's actually has his own YouTube channel. And would you actually like to introduce yourself? He's the co-star.
I am the head calculator, also known as Optimized. I have my own channel where I do philosophy and Dragon Ball scaling.
Yes, and before we go into this, just a big round of applause for Optimize. He really was the head guy of this calc. It should all go to him. I'll be honest, we both did this calc together, but I had to dip, so he went full throttle. Even though I had to dip for a bit, by the time I got back, he finished it. And it was trial and error, and I feel bad for dipping on him. I didn't think he was gonna do it all, but that just shows what a man he is and he deserves this calc. He deserves the clout that comes with this calc. Anyway, so we'll link his channel in the link description below. But before that, let's just go over something a very lowball scale that we both agree on that can be like a bare minimum of the planet. So it was stated that the One Piece planet has over 20 million islands. Our own planet has over 900,000 planets. If you just divide the both by each other, 20 million divided by 900,000, you get 22, meaning the One Piece planet, just based off those statements, right, would be at least bare minimally 22 times our own planet, which would be around what, planetary plus in terms of attack potency to be able to affect it. No?
Yeah.
And with that, of course, that is a low ball scale. That's like something the normies would use, right? That's like very, very low. And with that out of the way, we actually are going into the real scale, which I will be handing off to Optimize since he practically did it and understands it. But before I do that, a key component of this calc is actually understanding Alabasta. So Alabasta is an average size, not even one of the smaller islands that Luffy has ever visited, along compared to the other supernovas and other islands of the One Piece world. It's an average to even small island just based off this diagram here. So we have to understand, and most people, not just like us, but even most people, right? Like for example, Versus Battle Wiki or an Idea Shocker, and countless of other people have always came to a similar conclusion when calculating the size of this planet. Comes around to being at least the size of Australia due to the statements of its kilometers in width and also just the on-screen showing of how big it is. So it's at least bare minimally around, always confidently calced at the size of Australia. With that around, that would mean one of the regular to smaller end islands of One Piece planet is around the size of one of our continents, which is just mind-boggling as itself. And with that out of the way, I'll let you Optimize continue the rest of this calc.
So as Crafty said, the average island size is around the size of Australia. Now, Australia's island size is 2.9 million miles squared. And if you account for the ocean, that would be around 1 million times the surface area of Earth. If you do some epic mathematical calculation, you can get the radius from the surface area. Now, what you need the radius for is to get the volume. And the volume ends up being around 6.1 times 10 to the 18th of Earth's. Now, if you use the average density of the Earth and the volume, you would get a mass that is 23.7 million times the Earth, or 71 times the Sun. Now we go into the gravitational binding energy. And for people who don't know, the gravitational binding energy is the minimum force that it takes for a planet to stop holding itself together. And if you plug those numbers into a calculator, you would get a force that is 1,900 times more than that is what is needed. Oh god. And if you plug those numbers into a calculator, you would get a force that is 1,900 times more than what is needed to destroy the sun. So at a mid-ball, this planet would be star level. But if you use a more dense planet, like K238b, it would be at solar system level. It is that close. And the G's of this planet would be 914. For context, 9 G's could kill you. This is 100 times more than what is lethal.
God damn. And also, just for going to the joule output, if we go with the mid ball, which is the difference between the mid and high ball is around a 2 times difference. Like that's what you're going into, right? If we use the density, the most densest planet we know knowledge of, like you were talking about, the actual joule output that you were talking about for like the mid ball, it'd be like large star level, right? It would be around to the 44th power, right? It was like a 3 point.
Yeah, the low ball is like 44 to the 44th power, and then star level would be like 45, so the high ball would be around that point.
Yeah, so that's why you really start to see the difference. Just the one, we're putting up the exact joule output right on screen where we have it, but just like we have right now, the One Piece planet is so close to being a solar system. Literally a 2 to 3 times difference would practically make it a solar system, which just speaks volumes. And it's actually narratively implied that this planet would be actually on the size, because even the diagram and scales we have of this planet shown in verse show it having many moons / planetoids that are so big. Even one of the moons / planetoids has its own moon to it, kind of resemblance of us, as our own Earth has its own moon, big structure compared to the other planets of the solar system that have their own moons, but they're like a lot smaller, except like Titan, but that's a different story altogether. But going into it, that would just you can see how ginormous the One Piece planet is, and there's really nothing else to go into. Before we sign out, is there anything you want to say about your channel real quick, Optimize?
Go sub or else.
Yep, and with that out of the way, goodbye, Optimize. And
Shut or my go.
And with Optimize gone, guys, that's all for me. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and join the Discord and link in the description below. And hopefully, if Optimize can ever come back from this, we can always just have him back on the channel. He is head calc. The calc, I'm giving all ownership to calc, except I get clout, but I get ownership to the clout, but he gets the clout. If that makes sense. There's a lot of K's and C's in that vocabulary. Anyway, that'll be all. Mr. Crafty, out.
いつか愛になるその日まで飲み込んできた悲しみの全てが僕を形作ったうごめき出したそして浮いてきたんだろう呼吸と同じように一つ一つ重ねてきたんだこの手形の数えきれない消えなくなった傷跡が僕の明かした